Welcome to Forensic Friday.
where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all. Nat told me this morning she woke up ready to fight.
I did.
And I was thinking about how you and I've had kind of an extra zesty couple of days. I think it's been just time of year, client stuff this time of year is always a little bit extra.
Spicy.
Uh-huh. We've had some people with some, I'm gonna say it kindly, cognitive distortions.
Yes. We should probably do an episode on that.
We probably should. We except you have to have enough self-awareness to recognize that you also have cognitive distortions.
Yep.
Or else they listen and go, "Oh, those poor people who have those cognitive distortions."
I know.
So we've been kind of
Oh,
chuckling for 2 days. I think that Baby Gray is making Nat a little extra sassy.
yeah.
It's not coming my direction. I'm enjoying it. It's like watching a great show. You love me. Baby Gray loves me. We're good.
We're good.
You
Yeah.
know?
No, it just, it's like I'm either ready to go or I'm not at
Oh,
all,
that's so true.
you know?
That's so true.
Yeah.
You're killing me because I was laughing. I'm always so close to you when we work together because we're in the same room all the time. And I was laughing, remembering how Mac knew my voice the minute I had him. He would calm down when he heard
Oh.
my voice. And I was like, they're going to have to pipe my voice in for Baby Gray, I think, because I talk more than you do.
You're not wrong.
She's going to come out going, I know her.
I
How
know that
do I know her?
no kidding.
I'm very excited about that. I'm not going to lie.
I know she's growing, man.
Oh, a little gnat, though, is just kind of a dream. I'm so excited about it. I can't
I don't
even
I don't know
take
if
it.
everyone agrees with that, but I love that.
Well, I don't care about their opinion. So how about that?
Yeah, it is what it is.
They don't have to want a gnat 2.0. And you know what else? Gray won't care either because of who her mama is
I know. She's gonna
and
be
her
like,
auntie.
mm-hmm.
Auntie's
She's
going to tell her every day, you're the greatest thing that ever walked this earth.
like,
Don't let me mess with you. You're the best.
yeah, she's gonna be spicy.
She's going to be spicy. It's going to be great.
Gonna be spicy.
We are tackling a big, big, big story today, and it's kind of unfolding as we're recording it. And so we may have to do an update in a couple of weeks. But this is one that really gets me good and fired up. And I know it fires you up too. And I was literally still taking notes up until the minute before we jumped on because there's stuff unfolding
Mm-hmm.
all the time. They just found the alleged murderers, accused murderers manifesto today. So the case we're going to do today is the murder of Brian Thompson, the 50-year-old CEO of United Healthcare, the insurance company. And he was going into an investor meeting at the Hilton Midtown Manhattan in New
Mm-hmm.
York City. And this was on December 4th,
Yeah, super
six,
recent.
super recent, 6:45 in the morning. And a masked and hooded assailant basically came up and shot him from behind and fled the scene. And they didn't know who this person was for a bit. You know,
Yeah.
you and I have said so many times, they're gonna find you. You
Yes.
can't do this stuff and totally disappear. I don't care how smart you are.
No, well, and here's the thing. I was thinking about this. I like think about this a lot. I think I might have said this in the Idaho case, but technology is so different now.
Yes, it is. DNA,
DNA, there are cameras literally everywhere.
even
Back,
your digital footprint, they can find
yes, like
everything.
back in the day, there were not cameras everywhere,
Mm-mm.
right? People didn't have ring doorbells. There weren't a ton of things
Yeah.
on. street lights, and so even just that, because that's how this guy got caught was cameras,
Cameras.
right?
And someone recognized him at a McDonald's.
Starbucks, I thought.
Oh, it's a McDonald's.
Oh.
I'm almost certain, but we'll fact check people. My understanding is someone recognized him at McDonald's. When they found him in his backpack, they found a 3D printed pistol with a
Mhm.
silencer. And the thing about 3D printing is a lot of times those things, my husband's a nerd. He actually has a 3D printer.
No,
We
he
have,
doesn't.
yes, he absolutely does. We have a 3D printer in our house.
Oh my
And it's
gosh.
it's actually really cool to watch. I think it's a little weird. But I mean, he can make anything. Like he's made Mac toys. Like you just
What?
basically design the thing, it's 3D, and you buy plastic and it will 3D print the thing.
That is crazy. How have I
It's
never seen this?
well, it's kind of a beast. I make him keep it in the basement because it's so huge. Meanwhile, all my crap's everywhere, right? Like I have 10 psych books that I tripped over coming into my office, but that
Literally.
3D printer lives in the basement.
Okay.
It's not aesthetically pleasing, but it is impressive.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know
I
you guys had
know.
one of those.
But the thing that's so scary to me about the 3D printed stuff is if it's plastic, it can go through a metal detector. So the fact that he had a pistol and a silencer, I don't know if that's what he used.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything. They're still figuring all of that out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say the suspect that they arrested, oh my gosh, what day did they arrest him? 2 days ago?
Let me look.
They
You're
just
also
arrested
right.
him.
It was a McDonald's.
Oh, it was a McDonald's because I was like, and they arrested him on weapons charges, which you and I know means the person was recognized and they had something that tied him to a gun or something. So they picked him up for that and then he got charged with murder.
Yeah.
So he has been charged with murder formally. It's still accused, allegedly, all the things apply that liberally here, although I don't think this guy has any interest in suing our podcast. He
Mm-mm.
has not been convicted in a court of law yet.
No.
But we are going to talk about him at length today.
Yes. That sounds good. Yeah, I don't know much about him. I know about the case.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
and I have theories on the why he may have been so angry, but I don't know anything about him, so I could be totally wrong.
Absolutely. And I think we're all angry, which is something that we're going to get into. So
Yes.
basically the victim, and I want to talk about the victim first, and there's a reason for that, because that is typically what we try to highlight
Mm-hmm.
is the victim in the case. So as controversial as this human is, and I had no idea when I got into this, just how controversial he is.
The
So
victim.
the victim, yes.
Okay.
However, he's still a human being, and we're going to talk about his life.
Mm-hmm.
But my opinion for him is going down by the minute. I can tell you that.
Bummer.
But he's still a human being. He has inherent value as a human being. And so
Yeah.
also his family didn't know, his wife didn't know when she married him, and his children surely didn't know and choose for their father to be a CEO of the largest insurance company in the country. So like when he met his wife in college, right? He wasn't the CEO of United Healthcare,
Right.
and his children didn't choose a father who had this job,
Right.
and they just lost their person. So,
Mm.
I mean, I'm really going to try to ground this episode in that a little bit, but I
Yeah.
also want to tell our listeners I'm big mad. Apologies in advance. If you're super defensive of this guy, you may not want to listen to this episode, and that's fine. But I'm going to try to honor him the best I can and give you straight facts.
Okay. Let's do this.
Okay? You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so victim, Brian Thompson. He was born in 1974 in Ames, Iowa. Again, he has two sons. He
Okay.
was the valedictorian of his high school. Met his wife when he was in college,
Mm-hmm.
and they have two sons. His wife is a physical therapist, and their
Okay.
family lives in Maple Grove, Minnesota.
Okay.
Okay? On the career front, he started his career 20 years ago with
Mm.
United Healthcare. So he started in 2004, and he was initially kind of running he was the CEO of the company's government program. So that was Medicare, Medicaid, and other types of coverage. So that was his first CEO gig. So it's all under the same umbrella.
Okay.
He was kind of the CEO of one of the parts of United. And
Okay.
then when he died, he was the head of the whole thing, which I'm going to get
Okay.
into. Okay. So basically, he took over as the CEO of the entire company. And again, this is a $562 billion company.
That's crazy.
That is like the amount of money that's going through this company.
Mhm.
$562 billion. Okay.
Okay.
So in 2021, he became the CEO.
Okay.
His personal compensation was $9.6 million that year.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. 2022, his personal compensation went up to $9.8 million.
In and as the CEO of this of
Of all of the big, that big 500 and whatever billion-dollar company, he's the CEO. That was his
okay.
personal compensation.
Okay, okay.
In 2023, he made $10.2 million. That was his personal income in 2023. During his
Do you
tenure
think
as,
there's such a thing as making too much money?
oh, absolutely I do, especially in this case.
I'm like,
Yes, absolutely.
why? Like, I can respect, here's the thing. I respect people who make a ton of money.
Yep,
You do you. Jeff Bezos, is that the Amazon dude?
yep.
You know, you do you. You came up with a brilliant idea.
Good for you. Make money.
It sucks for small businesses, but like if you are smart and you come up with a good idea
Yes,
and you make it work, like Facebook, all that stuff.
yes.
But at some point, it's like it's pretty wild.
It costs someone something when someone makes that much money.
Yeah.
It just does. And
Yep.
in the case of a health insurance company,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
actually costing people, and we're going to talk about that.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna probably want to like opt out of health insurance.
You're you're gonna, I think, follow my blood pressure elevation, which I'm still hot because like I said, I was working on this coming in here.
Yeah.
But you know what? He made good money, like you said. So far, good for you, dude. You're real
Yeah.
smart, work at a big company, whatever.
Cool. Yep.
We've talked about how, and I don't want to vilify all CEOs. There are some amazing CEOs. Psychopathy is overly represented in CEOs.
Mm-hmm.
I am not in any way saying the victim was a psychopath. I have no idea, actually,
Mm.
about his personal life, his history, any of that, except for a few aspects of his career that are indicative of potentially some character flaws that may have contributed to his death,
Okay.
or at least him being targeted.
Okay.
So the profit of the company in 2021 was $12 billion. So the whole enterprise, like here's how much we bring in is the 500 billion number. Straight profit, $12 billion in 2021 when he took over. When he
Okay.
died, $16 billion. So he increased the profitability in 2 years by $4 billion.
Wow.
That's not nothing.
Yeah. That's
That's
insane.
actually pretty significant. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the meeting that he was on his way into when he died.
Okay.
So in 2023, so last year around this time, investor meeting, he talks about we're going to have a value shift instead of, and he's telling investors, right? These are shareholders, people who put money in the company, all of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are going to keep people healthy instead of just treating people when they're sick. We're going to do less of this fee for service crap. We're going to try to get a little more into prevention. Sounds great, right?
Right.
Bullshit. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Okay. He didn't get to attend this year's investor meeting because he was killed outside the hotel on his way in for the investor meeting. So
Oh,
that was
wow.
canceled this year. Okay.
Wow.
On the surface, great. Good for you, dude. We're going to increase prevention. We're all about that. But let's talk about what he actually did.
Uh,
Okay. 2021. He was criticized in an open letter from the American Hospital Association, the AHA, regarding a plan to start denying payment for non-critical visits to hospital emergency rooms. Okay. So there's an open letter from the American Hospital Association that's like, hey, this is what United Healthcare is doing. This CEO has a plan to do this.
wow.
Yes, he was named.
Okay.
Their response was to delay the rollout. Okay. I got this information from Fortune magazine, and
Yeah.
all of these are reputable sources because I was like, there's so much crap out there right now. You don't know what's real. I
Yeah.
went with everything has a tangible source that I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just want to put that out there because you can find all kinds of stuff right now.
Yeah.
Also, from 2021 to 2022, this one's gonna make you mad. Just hold on to your butt, Natalie.
Okay.
The prior auth denial rate in 2021 was 8%. 2022, 22.7%. United Healthcare declines claims at a rate that is double the industry average.
Oh, why? Is there a why?
Yeah, the why is the profit.
So they deny claims,
Mhm.
insurance claims,
Yep.
so they don't have to pay out.
Oh yeah, get ready. If you're not mad
Oh,
yet,
I hate
hang
this.
on, it gets worse. So they get called out in a class action lawsuit
Mm-hmm.
right around that same time.
Mm-hmm.
They developed an AI algorithm, right? Predictive, this is Gare does AI stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Predictive math. So they created an algorithm for claim denials, resulting in significant increased out-of-pocket expenses and lack of needed treatment for elderly Medicare and Medicare Advantage members.
Mm,
And that it was a class action lawsuit because it affected so many people.
mm-hmm.
They were called out on it and they kept going even when challenged with the class action lawsuit because even when they realized there was a 90% error rate in the algorithm, only 0.2% of people appealed it. Only 0.2% of this 90% that were wrongly denied
Mm-hmm.
access to whatever, only
Mm-hmm.
0.2% of them ever appealed.
Mm,
So they just kept rolling with their 90%. They're like, if they don't know if they don't appeal, like that's on
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the appeal process in a little bit when we get into heart.
Ugh, that's
Mhm.
so annoying.
So sitting with, okay, one more piece, and then I want to know what you're thinking.
Okay.
In 2024, this is the most recent significant thing I could find about him at
Mm-hmm.
the helm of United.
Mm-hmm.
In May of 2024, the Hollywood, Florida, I didn't even know there was a Hollywood, Florida. So there you go. Firefighters Pension Fund sued Thompson and two other executives by name for alleged fraud and insider trading because they failed to disclose an antitrust investigation that the government was doing. And all of that data was given to the SEC in February of 2024. And when that happened, when they were investigated, Thompson sold a bunch of his shares to make money before it became public, which is illegal. It's insider trading. You can't do that, and you cannot tell anyone. Anyone. You can't tell people right before a company goes public, but you also cannot sell shares because you insider
Wow.
knowledge. It's insider trading.
Wow.
I don't know the outcome of that suit. I also do not know why it was the firefighters. I dug as much as I could, but it's
Yeah.
all just coming out now. So, Yep.
Dang.
So, my friend, when it comes to the crime and the victim,
Hmm.
what are you thinking?
Well,
I'm going
so
to get into him in a minute, but I just want to know here's where we're at.
hit the victim.
Not the victim, I'm sorry. We're going to get into the suspected killer
Okay.
in just a minute, but this is the
Yeah.
crime and the victim's
Yeah.
resume essentially.
Yeah. Well, I might sound like an idiot. I low-key think the insurance companies, our health system as a whole
Mhm.
is not far from like the cartel.
Oh, facts.
So,
The pharmaceutical companies,
oh, it's a dumpster
big
fire.
healthcare and
Yeah.
health insurance,
Yeah.
absolutely. It is
I
not the doctors, it is
not
that
yes.
system. Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
So, I'm not, you know, unfortunately, I'm not super surprised that this guy was targeted. Um,
Well, and you might ask, why would we cover this beyond the fact that it's a murder? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because Natalie and I are also experts in financial crimes. We treat
mhm,
people, as we've discussed before,
mhm.
who have committed quote unquote white collar crimes. That is something that we talk about and have
Yep.
counseled extraordinarily wealthy people who've gotten in trouble with the law for various things.
Yes, yeah, yep. So my genuine thought is he was a part of a really ugly system and
Yeah,
he was ringleader of a really ugly system.
absolutely.
And what really sucks is, and you saying, that his family, it's not like his family signed up for this.
Hmm.
I'm sure they're all devastated.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but what's hard is like, I don't know if I want to say this, but I'm going to anyway. Even his family, like his wife, if I was married to someone who made that much money, who was the CEO of these massive companies, who was super high up and whatever,
Hmm.
I mean, you have a target on your back.
Hmm.
Like you just do.
Hmm.
And I know that's not the life that his wife signed up for. However,
I know.
at the end of the day,
Hmm.
a lot of these men, one, don't want to get out of the business because it's fast and it's exciting and there's adrenaline and, like
Oh, big deals. Yeah.
they get used to this lifestyle, but, their families don't want to lose it either.
Well, and let's get real here. If they operate a bit like a cartel, and they do, I mean, with the
They
exception
do.
of mass killings, okay, like they're not
Right.
the healthcare companies, the health insurance companies are not directly in your face killing people. However,
Right.
I will tell you, killing somebody by the stroke of a pen isn't that different than killing them by a gun.
Yes. Yes.
And we just have to be real about that because that is
Yep.
what's happening.
Yep. But I think it just makes me mad. I think, it's a messy system, and when you know the mess and then you also partake in the mess and
And
then you
benefit from.
and benefit from and do shady stuff,
Mhm.
um, like it's similar to the cartel. It's like you can't keep living that lifestyle forever. Something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Something's gonna happen.
Why do you think it hasn't happened yet? We know workplace shooters, right? Okay, so that's a
Mhm.
thing. That's why people talk about going postal because our poor postal service members, there's some history there. This
Well,
is not a workplace incident in the traditional sense. It's not an employee of the company.
right. No. But I mean, but I think it's a similar situation though.
Hmm.
Right? Like I think of people who go postal on their workplace, it's they are feeling used. They're feeling like they don't have the benefits that they deserve, and this is just on a macro scale of that.
Absolutely. I
You
agree
know
with
what I
that.
mean? Like this guy, I don't even know the alleged, killer's name, but oh, right, it's Luigi. I remember being like, oh my gosh,
Luigi.
that's
I know. I was
hilarious.
like Mario.
I
Luigi.
know, same.
It's
Um,
a Mario.
he's also like very Italian.
Yeah.
Um, but allegedly with Luigi, he probably feels some sense of injustice, and I'm gonna sound stupid. I also watch Grey's Anatomy,
Oh yeah.
and when people end up losing family members, losing friends, losing people that they love because of the medical system, that's another reason people go insane.
Oh yeah. And
It-
just wait
Oh
because
boy.
when we talk about heart, I'm actually going to tell a couple stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you may have a couple of stories that really hit home. And I think I have some interesting perspectives we'll get to, and I want your take.
Okay.
Let's talk about the suspect
Okay.
for a minute, because I he got arrested like 2 days ago. So we're
Yeah.
we're learning a lot. This could be old news in 24 hours. So just hang in
Literally.
there. We're recording this on Tuesday. We're releasing it Friday. Like we're really trying to get it to you, right?
And the best we can.
We're doing the best we can. Um, the alleged killer
Mm-hmm.
suspect is Luigi, like you said, Mangione.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in Baltimore to a wealthy family, had a very privileged upbringing.
Yep. It looked like that.
Interestingly, he was also the high school valedictorian.
Yep. I remember reading that.
So we have a valedictorian killing another high school valedictorian, which is interesting. So these are both very smart men. Both of
Right.
them are very smart men.
And it's
Um,
not like Luigi's coming from nothing.
oh,
He's
Luigi,
coming he's coming from money.
he is coming from money. He
Uh-huh.
went to UPenn,
Uh-huh.
Ivy League education, bachelor's and a master's degree, both in computer science. And he was also part of the fraternity Pi Kappa Phi. Um,
Okay.
he's a social bro. He's a frat guy,
Yeah.
outgoing and charming. And basically, I mean, he was described as kind of a really normal, really social person by a former colleague at a Stanford summer program.
Okay.
And this came from a really reputable publication. They didn't cite the source because the source doesn't want to be harassed, but it's reputable
Valid.
information that he was your typical college kid.
Yeah.
But there's a couple interesting things that we were able to find, and I'm sure a lot more will come out soon. He had a slip disc in high school. So he had a little bit of an issue with his back in high school, or I mean, growing up.
Okay.
And so what happened is in 2022, he took a job as a software engineer in Hawaii.
Okay.
So he took a job, he went to Hawaii. I think he actually worked remote, but he lived in Hawaii.
Okay.
And in a surf lesson, he ended up with a back spine injury that really kind of exaggerated, amplified his prior issue in his back.
Hmm.
So he sent an x-ray to some friends after he had back surgery. So he had a big back surgery a few weeks after this injury and
Mm.
giant screws going into his spine. That's how they
I
described it.
feel like I know where this is going, but continue.
Yes. And maybe you saw, I think we're going to see the image of the x-ray fairly soon. I just have a feeling that
Okay.
it's going to come
Okay.
out, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Also, we always wonder about head injuries when there's
Mhm.
this kind of stuff, but there's nothing about a head injury.
Okay.
However, in some reviews, so he was a prolific reader. He had a
Hmm.
Goodreads profile, which is so funny. I don't know a ton of people who have those now, but that was a really big thing for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I am a big reader, you know this, but I don't have
Right.
like a profile. But there's some people who have profiles and they really like put the book that they read with some reviews and some information there. So he did this.
Right.
And this ends up being one of the ways that we get some early knowledge about him.
Okay.
So he read a lot of books about chronic back pain,
Hmm.
and he wrote about past issues that he had, including This is just so fascinating. Brain fog after his fraternity's Hell Week.
Okay.
Persistent brain fog.
Okay.
So brain fog that sort of came up then and then persisted for a period of
Interesting.
time. And he expressed frustration that people don't understand brain fog, which we've heard from our clients before. It's very frustrating. You have an ounce of pregnancy brain. I have to tell
Right.
listeners, your girl is still killing it at work. Like you're doing
Thanks.
amazingly well, but you know that feeling now.
Yeah.
And probably after your the flood too, because your
Mm-hmm.
brain is just you're just in another place.
Yeah, you're just processing. Yeah.
Mhm. So I have questions around maybe some trauma. Like, what do you think about the brain fog thing?
Well, my immediate thought was after Hell Week in a fraternity, like how much drinking was there?
Hmm.
My brain went to like substance use, but
Hmm. We
go
we may
ahead.
get there too.
Okay.
But yes, I Hell Week, listen, in a frat, freaking
Yeah.
nightmare. I did my little sorority initiations, big nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
The fraternities,
Different.
it's different.
And I mean, I never did Greek life, so maybe they don't
Hmm.
do all that type of stuff now, but
Well,
you
he
know,
specifically called it Hell Week,
okay.
which implies some level of hazing. I don't have any details.
Right.
But oftentimes, the fraternity Hell Weeks, like they don't sleep. They
Mm-hmm.
don't sleep for
Mm-hmm.
a long time. They drink a lot. It's
Yeah.
rough. I mean, it's not called Hell Week for nothing,
Yeah, that just sounds so dangerous, but anyway.
doesn't it? And that obviously preceded his surf injury, right? Okay. On Goodreads, I'm just getting warmed up, Natalie.
Just getting warmed.
On Goodreads, he read Guess Who's manifesto? Ted Kaczynski.
Oh, shoot.
Y'all didn't get to see that, but I just made a sassy notebook move over here. I feel like I'm
Oh,
in my
no.
glasses. My old lady eyes are going, it's 9 o'clock. Okay.
No, dude.
He had sympathetic views about Ted Kaczynski's manifesto, which is
Interesting.
interesting because Ted Kaczynski is really a domestic terrorist. That's essentially like extremist.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people with extremist domestic terrorism vibes love this guy
Mm-hmm.
because he was trying to send a message, and some people feel sympathetic to what that message was.
Right.
I find him to be ridiculous, but whatever.
Right. Right.
Whatever, bro. He quoted someone else online in his review of the manifesto. So Luigi wrote, quoting someone else, but he included it in the review. The idea that violence never solved anything is a statement uttered by cowards and predators. Think about that.
Read that again.
The idea that violence never solved anything is a statement uttered by cowards and predators.
Wow.
Wow. That I mean it's just a statement. It's just a statement.
That is a statement.
That is a statement.
Like,
Cowards and predators.
so basically, he's saying people who say that violence doesn't solve anything
Hmm.
are cowards and predators.
Uh-huh. Yeah. There's some evidence that he was experimenting with therapeutic psychedelics.
Mm,
So I don't believe he was, I haven't found evidence yet that he was abusing psychedelics, but he was using therapeutics.
okay.
Okay. And then the other piece that we know was he was doing pretty active like social media posts till midsummer, and then he goes radio silent.
Hmm.
So from a psychology perspective, when somebody just falls off the map entirely,
Hmm.
something really serious is going on. And we've heard this before from shooters and that kind of thing in those situations.
Hmm.
When they found Mangione at the McDonald's, okay,
Hmm.
with his 3D printed gun and silencer. They also found his manifesto. I don't know if they found it on his computer or if it was printed, who knows.
Yeah.
In a BBC article that quoted senior law enforcement officials, these were two statements that were in his manifesto. These parasites had it coming.
Oh gosh.
That was one. I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done.
Wow.
hmm Where else have we heard it had to be done?
Oh, Lyndon McLeod.
Our buddy Lyndon, really not our buddy Lyndon McLeod.
No, we hate him.
Shot to
Sorry.
death by a female officer. Sorry, not sorry.
Thank the Lord.
Also, we see this in other shooters, typically mass shooters, manifestos,
Mm-hmm.
right? It is interesting to me that he didn't shoot anyone else. He could have gone in there and tried to kill anybody who was in attendance. He could have killed everybody around. This was not a suicidal person. This was not somebody who I think was trying to go out in a blaze of glory. I honestly think he thought he was going to get away with it. I think he thought he's wearing a mask, he's whatever. But he had a statement to make and I think he felt compelled to do it.
Mm.
So, what do you think might have contributed to him feeling like had to be done?
Well, I don't know what happened with his case with his back.
Uh-huh. I don't have any specifics on his case with his back, just that he had
Oh,
chronic pain.
okay.
I don't
Um,
know. I think a lot's going to come out about that.
yeah, because I'm sitting here and it's like, I wonder if he felt like there was just some level of injustice
Oh, I'm sure. Or maybe it was
with
a
this case.
botched surgery and they wouldn't approve another surgery, or we just don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
I feel confident that we're going to find out. I don't think it's going to be a secret.
yeah. I really hope we do find out. I was thinking about this earlier today with his case. If he pleads not guilty, right? It's not, he's not going to necessarily share why he did it. And I really do want him to share why he did it
Oh, yeah.
because I'm not saying it's okay that he did, but I think if they're it's like domestic violence charges. And I'm not saying, don't ever do this, but
hmm
or I'm saying don't ever do this, but like crime of passion, what's that called? What's the charge that you get?
well, there's not a crime of passion charge. It's a reason
So,
people do things, but it could be,
what do they get charged with when that's the case?
it depends. Sometimes it's like manslaughter.
That's what I'm
Sometimes
thinking.
self-defense things are manslaughter. Sometimes if there's sort of a reason on some level,
Yeah.
it's not premeditated, it'll be a lesser degree charge of murder.
Yeah. I mean, I think his was pretty dang premeditated.
This is going to be first degree
Yeah.
premeditated murder. It just
Yeah.
is. I don't see this going any other way. If
Yeah.
they can prove it was him.
Yeah.
If they can prove it was him, I think that's the way that this goes.
Yeah.
It's going to be
But
difficult with his being spotted and having a gun and having a manifesto on his person, but
yeah.
it really comes down to the ammunition. Now,
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I haven't shared with you yet, they found on some of his ammunition
Mm-hmm.
written on the bullets
Oh no.
was written delay, deny, depose.
Oh wow.
We don't know. I don't know if it was like one word per bullet. I don't know anything about that. But
Okay.
he left some crap behind. There was stuff that they found. And then
Wow.
they also had the stuff that was on him at the McDonald's.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's very, very intelligent, but he also left some things around that
Yeah.
were helpful to law enforcement in tracking him down.
Yeah.
I suspect, and again, this, you and I have dealt with this our entire careers. I
Mm-hmm.
suspect chronic pain,
Mm-hmm.
mismanaged, opioid crisis, even though he's on the tail end of that. So my guess is they didn't manage his pain well, period. So he
Yeah.
probably got opiates for this crazy surgery, and then he probably wasn't able to get what he needed.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably didn't have a great plan for him because they don't have great plans for chronic pain. It's like do physical therapy, which, by the way, physical therapy is amazing. If you do physical therapy, there are surgeries you don't need sometimes.
Right, right.
But we also have some cancer patients and some chronic pain patients who cannot get what they need to
No,
live. And some of those folks actually do kill themselves.
right.
I know of people who've killed themselves over chronic pain. So
Yeah, yeah.
I suspect he was caught in that loop, probably on
Mm,
some level, and had procedures denied or something like that. But again,
yeah,
we won't know for a while,
yeah. Oh,
right? So that's our suspect so far. Young man, highly educated,
hmm
successful, social, and people are very surprised. This isn't the person where all the neighbors go, "Oh yeah, we saw this
hmm
coming," right? Not
hmm
the case with this guy, but there were some signs that he was struggling. There were some signs that maybe he was getting radicalized.
mm,
And then on top of that, he kind of went dark on social
mm.
media and with friends. Those were kind of some of the indicators.
Okay.
Right. Okay, let's talk about the big mad. The the big mad
Okay.
that is going on. Okay. So, couple things happened simultaneously. When this happened, big media goes, you know how they always go fear? Fear, it's the
Yeah,
fear mongering, right? So
yeah.
the media goes, "Oh my God, corporate security. We don't have enough corporate." I shit you not. It's very fun. I'm sorry. Tina, sorry. When you look at the timeline, okay,
hmm
some of the very first articles were, "Oh, our executives aren't safe." So they drew a comparison between the United Healthcare
hmm
company, which he didn't have a bodyguard. They did have security, but not a lot, like in-house, right? And it's kind of funny because I think about how little security we've had in our job, and we actually like work with people who have hurt people. So it's just funny to me that whatever. It's a whole thing.
Right,
If you're a
right.
health insurance company and you're afraid for your life, that's interesting to me. I don't know.
Yep, yep.
So Facebook, Meta, the company that owns Instagram and Facebook,
hmm
spent more than $24 million last year alone to keep their executives safe.
Hmm.
Whether that's, bodyguards or whatever, that's how much they spent to be
Okay,
safe.
okay.
Okay. So the media is going, "Oh my God, the executives aren't safe. We're not protecting our workers, blah, blah, blah."
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Then it shifts into political rhetoric, of course,
hmm
right? But where the rhetoric was coming from was the media, not people,
Mm.
not social media, not everybody else. Okay. So Ben Shapiro goes
Okay.
on, and Shapiro, he's a lot. Some people love him, some people don't love him, whatever, but he's a lot.
Yeah.
So he comes out and he says, I gotta find this quote because it's so incredible. Oh, this despicable left-wing shooter. Okay.
Okay.
There's no evidence it was a left-wing shooter. There's actually some evidence it may swing the other way. Doesn't
Oh,
matter. Ben
yeah.
Shapiro's fans are like, absolutely not. We hate him too. We hate big healthcare. We hate health insurance. We are your followers. We voted the way you voted, and we understand the shooter. This isn't a left wing crazy shooter. This is a person who's pissed at an insurance company. So that
Right.
was some of the media's first understanding that, oh, hey, maybe the public feels differently about this than we do. We're not
Right.
going to be able to fearmonger, and we can't politicize it.
No. No one even knows what political view this guy had.
Wait for it. Here's our
Uh,
heart piece.
okay.
I think one of our biggest bipartisan issues is health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is mad.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what's happening. On social media alone,
Mm-hmm.
people are saying some crazy things, which you would expect.
Mm-hmm.
United Healthcare posts, and United Healthcare was shocked by the response, which I think shows how out of touch they are with the people that they serve. they posted like a Facebook, in memory, blah, blah, blah. They're like posting these things and they are getting so much
Mm,
crazy backlash. They have to take it all down,
wow.
which I think they were surprised. Okay. So then public officials come out. This is deplorable that people would be talking so poorly about this man who died and blah, 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 which
Mm,
sure. Okay. Also out of touch though.
yeah.
So here are a few of the most interesting statements that I heard, and I want to get your hot take. Okay.
Okay.
We picked literally 2 out of 25 million. But
Yeah.
Garrett and I were like, I want to know what Nat thinks about this specifically.
Okay.
One Twitter user, and this got retweeted, retweeted, retweeted. The working class is under no obligation to mourn the death of those who are actively trying to kill them.
Hmm.
What do you think about that statement?
Say it again.
Okay. The working class
Hmm.
is under no obligation to mourn the death of those who are actively trying to kill them.
Well, I think it's a super strong statement.
Oh, you think? Yeah, that's
Um,
why I picked it.
yeah. I think when I think of the working class, and are we kind of talking like blue collary?
I don't know what the Twitter user
Okay.
said, but I think what they're saying is anyone who's not making $10 million a year. I
Okay.
think the implication here is the people
Mm-hmm.
who have health insurance and don't have millions of dollars
Mm-hmm.
don't have to feel sad
Mm-hmm.
when the
That
person who's
that he
signing off
died.
on people dying that he
Yeah.
died.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
pardon
yeah, yeah.
us if we don't grieve with you.
No, right, right, right. I get what it's saying. I'm just curious, like, because that's such a big statement. It's pretty
Mhm.
broad. Um,
Well, there's a distortion in there too.
right. Well, I think what's hard, like my immediate thought is it's a distorted way of thinking about justice. Does that make sense?
Yes. Why?
Because the working class, right? So anyone who's not making an insane amount of money,
Right.
it's hard. I mean, I'll just share a little personal stuff. Like I pay for my own health insurance
You do.
out of pocket. I don't, we don't have it through our center yet.
Right.
And it's insane. I pay a lot of money every month to
hmm
also pay a lot of money for the appointments that I attend.
hmm
And so I think, and I don't have United.
United Healthcare. Yeah.
Um,
It's the
so
biggest one. I've had United in the past. I don't right at this moment, but I have
yeah,
United.
yeah, I
I
don't
will
have,
never again, based on what I know now,
oh yeah,
unless
they change it.
bad publicity
Hmm.
does create change. So as
Yeah.
these articles and lawsuits are coming out, you know how the safest place to be was on a plane right after 9/11?
Uh-huh.
It could be that the best insurance you can get is United Healthcare in
Yeah.
2025, right? Because they may
Yeah,
have to make changes because the public may demand it
for
because their
sure.
shares are going to
For sure.
plummet. Yes.
But I think, I think it's a skewed way of seeking justice, right? So
Mhm.
there's a lot of people who are saying, and this is part of what I've read, is there's a lot of people saying, that someone posted today, like, excuse me for jumping up and down for like, a saint killing a criminal. It-
Yes.
And my genuine thought is no one deserves to die,
Nope.
you know?
It's also hyperbole, which
Uh-huh.
escalates and always derails conversations. So
Yeah.
there's a big difference between not preventing. So even though I said you kill someone with a stroke of a pen, you kill someone with a gun,
Yeah.
everyone I think would agree in a rational thinking place. There's
Yeah.
a difference between not approving a treatment or allowing someone to die versus walking up and shooting them. There is a difference. We have
Yeah.
to use our rational brains a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
But I do understand the hyperbolic message, which is like,
Yes.
I don't know how you expect me to feel about this, but when my grandma died, I
Mhm.
mourned that. Were you at my funeral? Did you
Right.
cry when you didn't approve the service that my grandma needed to live, or my mom, or my
Right.
son?
Right. Right.
So, I mean, there is just this. this is the undercurrent. So I want to read something that a therapist wrote.
Okay.
This is the other one we picked out. Garrett found this one and he goes, "You have to ask Natalie." I'm like, "I got it." As a practicing therapist hearing about the news that the CEO of United Healthcare was killed, I just hope his family knows that grief counseling isn't considered medically necessary and is not covered by United Healthcare insurance before they get hit by any unexpected bills.
That's a spicy statement.
Oh, it is. It really is. What do you think about it?
Say it again. It maybe send it text me that one.
Okay, I'm going to text it to you, but I'm also going to tell you again.
Okay,
So
I gotta read it.
the listeners have to digest it too.
I know.
And I will tell you this is 100% true. So the fact checker here is me. I am a therapist. I accept United Healthcare insurance and have for years, and they do not cover grief counseling, and they do not consider it medically necessary. And they will bill you out of pocket for this.
Mhm.
So this is 100% true. You may have a certain policy through United that this is different, but actually this goes back to the DSM and Big Pharma. So I'll come back to all of that. But
Mhm.
here's the statement again. So for the listeners, and I'm texting it to you right now. Did I send it?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. So you have it too. As a practicing therapist, hearing about the news that the CEO of United Healthcare was killed, I just hope his family knows that grief counseling isn't considered medically necessary and is not covered by their United Healthcare insurance before they get hit by any unexpected bills.
I mean,
Damn!
I yeah.
I'm sorry, that's just true.
It is that's the thing. Here's the thing. It's a true statement. Here's here's the thing about that statement.
Mhm.
It's just true. It's the truth. Okay, there's nothing not true about it.
Yep,
I bounce back to this place of empathy for the family.
100%.
And that's, it's a true and also very spicy statement.
Well, it's messed up when you think about the fact that, again,
Mhm.
we have a family, a community. People
Mhm.
are mourning this man. This is a person. We cannot
Yes,
forget this is a
a
person.
human being.
However, I will tell you as a therapist, this is where I get mad. Okay, I get mad. The number of times I haven't been able to treat someone
Yeah.
because the person died within a period of time that
Mhm.
has been specified by actually the DSM, which is a whole nother, it's an APA thing, but bereavement is different than depression.
Mhm.
Bereavement is a V code, Z code, depending on which code you're using,
Mhm.
and it is not covered. And so I actually have had clients come in for therapy. Their number one issue is grief. My father died 3 months
Yeah.
ago, or whatever the issue is. I have a choice as a therapist.
Yeah.
Do I misrepresent the symptoms? Do I write all the symptoms they're having, but not say that somebody died?
Yeah.
Do I not put that in the note? I don't do this, by the way. I don't engage in insurance fraud, but I'm saying as a
Yeah.
therapist, this is the tough thing.
Yeah.
Or do I do a few sessions and do it accurately and hope that it pays, but when they don't, that person's going to get billed out of pocket for those
Yeah.
sessions?
Yeah.
And I will tell you, there's a lot of therapists that lie. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to name
Oh,
the name.
yes.
There
Yeah.
are therapists that just lie and they feel like they're doing the greater good, which is also what the shooter thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a million ways the system is getting circumvented
Mhm.
anyway.
Yeah.
So at what point do we just start over and fix fix the system?
Right.
But that therapist who wrote
Mhm.
that spicy statement that I probably would not put out there.
Spicy but true.
Um,
Yeah.
spicy but true. That is the truth. And it is heartbreaking when that happens and when we can't care for people because someone has made an arbitrary choice somewhere
Mhm.
along the way. And it's
Mhm.
usually a cost-saving measure because in our country we're already treating everything under the sun, but
Right.
bereavement is massive
It is.
and
It
it's
is.
considered developmentally normal. Now, there's
Mhm.
workarounds if you're a therapist, DM us. There are some ethical ways to bill. for
Yes.
bereavement counseling. There are.
Yes. There are.
It is a lot more work for the therapist, I will
Yeah.
tell you though.
Yeah.
Right?
Dang.
A couple other initial reactions.
Uh-huh.
There was a book that came out in 2010 that basically told all of this crap about insurance. Everything we're talking about right now, this
Okay.
book defined it. The
Okay.
name of the book is Delay, Deny, Defend.
Oh, geez.
So I find it interesting that this
Dang.
avid reader wrote two of those words, right? Two of those words on bullets,
Yeah, what's it
on
called?
actual ammunition.
What's the book called?
Um, Delay, deny, defend. And the three words were delay, deny, depose.
Uh,
And the word depose is interesting because that makes me think maybe he was involved in a legal case against an insurance company. Because depose makes me think about depositions and some of that kind of stuff.
what do you mean? Some kind
Like a
of
malpractice case or something, or a suit against the law, against the insurance company. Because to depose someone is to get their statement.
okay.
It can also mean removed from office suddenly and forcefully,
Oh
which
God.
happened. It could be that could be a play on words. Who knows? This guy's smarter than me. He went to an Ivy League school, so who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Couple other little heart pieces that I really do want to talk about beyond just the pent up anger at the
Mm-hmm.
system. I wanted to share a couple just quick kind of stories of how this has churned stuff up in me, and they're quick, but you may have some too to contribute. But when I started running an intensive outpatient program for high risk adolescents and adults, I had to do what was called utilization management reviews.
Mm,
And basically that's a real professional term for getting grilled by someone employed by the health insurance company to justify why you're asking for the thing you're asking for.
yeah.
Okay. So I would call and I would get a certain number of IOP days approved. Sometimes they'd give me like 6, 7. If you're doing 3 days a week, that's 2 weeks of treatment. That's it.
Mm,
Okay. And I have people who are suicidal, on hard drugs. I mean, there's a million things happening
yeah.
and I'm getting
Yeah.
grilled. So my very first call was with a woman from United
Mm,
in their utilization management department. This woman was an LPC licensed professional counselor paid by United to review claims and deny.
wow.
Mhm. So I call this person up. I was loosely trained by someone. I'm 24 years old. It was my first job out of grad school. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying so hard to get this family, and they're crying in my office. And
Mm,
they were initially approved for, I believe it was 6 days. So they had 2 weeks of
okay.
intensive outpatient. And
Jeez.
then they would have stepped down to, I think insurance was only going to pay for one session a week after that. And I was like, I can't, I
Mm,
don't think we can do this. And it was so expensive to be seen for this family. They didn't
mm,
qualify for Medicaid. They were living in that gap between
mm.
Medicaid and, being independently wealthy, which is what you need to afford healthcare in this country, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I call and I'm like, I'm ready. You know me. I had I had my stuff together. I was ready. I was a little bit nervous. I got literally no training. And I call this
Mhm.
woman and I'm thinking, I'm going to call this LPC and she's going to totally get it. She's
Mm.
going to get it. Licensed professional counselor. She's going to understand that this teenager needs a little bit more time,
Right.
more sobriety, more containment, whatever.
Uh-huh.
When I tell you I got my ass handed to me
Mm,
in a way that few people have ever done.
mm,
I cried
mm,
because I was working with this kid and I felt like I had failed this kid. And they're
mm.
saying things like, how dare you ask for more days when you're not using the time you have? And I mean, it was really bad. What modality are you using? Where's that documented? Things I didn't know because I hadn't been trained
Mm,
on how to prepare for this phone call.
mm.
I felt like an epic failure and I was not able to get more days for this kid.
Mm,
and it was awful. And we tried to make it work, and it was a mess. So
that's so hard.
you also know I don't back away from a challenge, do I?
Mm,
Mm-mm. So
mm-hmm,
I learned some things.
mm-hmm,
One of the things that I learned is they don't want to be responsible for anything.
mm,
So catch me 6 months later. I'm calling to get approvals. I set a record at the company for getting approvals. I
mm-hmm,
would call and I would say, okay, so this person attempted suicide 7 days ago. They have XYZ diagnosis. They're on XYZ medications. They're attending. They're doing all of the things. And I'd go through the treatment plan. They'd be like, yeah, no, we're not approving any more days. You
mm-hmm.
guys just aren't doing treatment well enough. That's why they're not getting better. And I would say, okay, I respect your opinion. Can you please spell your last name for me? They'd be like, the fuck? Why do you need my last name? I was like,
Right.
I want to make sure that I tell the family who's responsible when this kid kills themselves so that they can file something personally
Wow.
with your name on it.
Good for you.
Yeah. And then the other thing I did was I would ask for license numbers.
Good for you.
And then I went toe to toe on diagnoses and treatment, and I would have research articles, and I would say the research suggests a minimum of 90 days to establish recovery. I'm asking for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm,
Where's your research?
mm-hmm,
What was the date of publication of your research? Here's mine.
mm-hmm,
It's from a year ago, right?
mm-hmm.
I started fighting. So let me tell you where this intersects with my personal life. So my mom, and you know this, and I have her permission to share the basics because she's kind of private.
Mm-hmm.
My mom got a really terrible diagnosis 5 years ago of stage 4 terminal lung cancer.
Mm-hmm.
We found out as a family we were given an awful prognosis, like a we won't have another this, that, the other holiday kind of prognosis. Okay. So we're devastated. We are devastated as a family.
Mm-hmm.
We get a call a week later. Oh, she's a candidate for this medication that just came out of trials, and it is having incredible success. People are living 5, 10, 15, 20 years on this medication. It's incredible. We just can't even believe what's happening with this. The oncologist is pumped, right? Insurance denies it
Mm,
initially, right? So we fight. We start fighting immediately. We get the insurance company to agree
mm-hmm.
to the medication,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the doctor's office was great. They fought that battle probably like I did. Hey,
Good.
why don't you call her children and tell them that? Kind of a thing, probably, because they've learned too.
Right.
So then she gets approved, and we're like, oh my gosh, like she's a great candidate for this. We're in business. Guess how much it costs?
A ton of money.
$13,000 a month.
Jeez.
So I talked to my father on the phone, and he goes,
Mm-hmm.
we'll just sell the house.
Oh.
I love that man so much. But
I
here's what I have
know.
that he doesn't.
Mm,
I am a white lady, number one. Okay. I can turn up the Karen just like anybody who looks like me. Okay.
yep.
I also have experience. I had the privilege to take a little bit of time to handle this problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had the training to know how to talk to an insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
I was highly privileged walking into this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I spent 48 hours on the phone. My mom now gets her medication delivered to her front door for free.
Good. She
Okay.
deserves it.
But my mom is no better or worse or different than anyone else in that same situation. She
Yeah.
just happened to have the daughter she has.
Yeah.
Now I'm on a watch list with Kaiser, I am certain. Because then the pharmacy, we're not going to fill it, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on. My name is in a manual or in a training textbook if
That
you
says
want to
don't
be an
mess with the
insurance coder, or like she's unhinged, which you know what? You're not wrong.
Sure. Sure.
I'm not going to shoot your CEO, but I might
Oh,
pitch a tent in your parking lot and tell everybody you suck, until you
yeah.
make me leave. I might do something like that.
Yeah.
Like you get big mad when it's your people.
Mm-hmm. Well, I might need you on this ambulance bill, just so you know.
This is the thing. Tell them about the ambulance bill. It's on my list.
Y'all,
Ambulance bill and highlighted.
I am still fighting to
Mhm.
get my ambulance bill somewhat covered
Yep.
from the flood. And it's just been such a nightmare to try to get this figured out. And I literally called them. I'm between the ambulance company and, Kaiser. I'm gonna just out them.
Mhm.
And
It's all guys.
Kaiser's like, well, they haven't gotten us this thing. And so then I call them and they go, no, they haven't even responded to our initial thing.
Mhm.
So I'm literally calling back and forth, doing these people's jobs for them.
100%.
That's what I'm doing.
And you know why they're making it so hard? It's not because they're dumb. They're very smart.
Right. They don't want to pay for it.
They don't want to pay. And the longer they drag it out, will you be the 0.2% that
Right.
appeals and makes it a problem? Or will
Yes.
you, like most Americans, let it go to bankruptcy, panic, bury your head in the sand, or pay it, or
hmm
negotiate it down and pay it, or whatever? It is in their best interest to solve no problems for you.
hmm Oh yeah, no, I'll be the 2%.
They don't want to solve your problems. So you need to become the problem. This is what I'm
hmm
saying.
hmm
I'm not advocating shooting anyone. I want to be very clear. This is a tragic thing that happened to a human being with a family and
Yes.
a community.
Yes.
However, can I understand the anger that the majority of Americans feel very much?
hmm
I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. It makes me super angry
hmm
because it's just wrong. So I had this interesting experience. I was thinking about this, and you and I haven't recorded in a while because we've had so much going on. And you and I
Yeah.
both had so much medical stuff. You're pregnant. I just had
Uh-huh.
two surgeries in a span of 10 days. Like we are
hmm
interacting with health insurance on the regular.
Yep.
Aaron and I hit our out-of-pocket max in like February because of some
Mm.
things that happened. I have paid them, I don't know, maybe $12,000 this, probably more, maybe $15,000 this year between my coverage and my out-of-pocket max, which was like 6,500.
Right.
Because I'm me and I'm a little bit soulless when it comes to this stuff, like this business that's trying to capitalize on me,
hmm
I'm like, book all the surgeries, man. I
hmm
cost them so much more than I paid them this year.
That's great.
It's great. And okay, so critical thinking brain, so unfortunate. Health insurance is one part of a really big screwed up system,
hmm
right? Because here's the problem. I'm not the only one who cost the insurance company more than I paid into the insurance company this year.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So I'm driving, I'm thinking all these things. I'm like, what are my angles? What's happening? Blah, blah, blah. And I had this thought, and it was, I hope those sons of bitches are losing sleep.
hmm
I hope those CEOs are losing sleep and it makes them think. And then I immediately felt this conviction of,
mm
wait a minute.
mm
I work with people who are losing sleep
mm
and who have made mistakes and who don't always think right. I don't always think right.
hmm
What the hell's going on with me that I'm sitting here hoping that someone is suffering on the other side of this thing? And this is the thing in our country right now where we're so divided on so many things.
hmm
So, my question for you, and I want to know what you think about this. Obviously, we share the value that we don't want people to feel afraid and we don't want people to be
No.
traumatized. And this is like literally what our jobs are. And there's inherent human value in everyone. But, kind of as a parting question, is there a way maybe that some of these issues that affect people on both sides deeply and
hmm
there's a shared anger about, is there a way that that brings us together?
mm
Because Ben Shapiro's people, man, they fired on him and they love him like he's their
Yeah.
guy, and they were like, nope, you're wrong on this one.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that because, they're sometimes they try to make a non-political issue a political issue. It is a political, to some degree, the healthcare system is a political issue, but
Oh yeah.
his killing, this guy's death, is more based out of this feeling of unjust than anything else.
Well, and
Um,
if there's a political issue to be had, it's a revolution on the part of the people, which doesn't go
right,
well
right.
historically for the people who are making $10 million a year.
Exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
So your question is basically like, can we find world peace within all of this?
World peace is never going to happen because people suck.
I
But
know.
is there a way if our country and our communities
Hmm.
can come together on some solutions and there's a little bit more of a centrist approach, is there a way that maybe our society supports a more reasonable solution to some of this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think there's always a way to find a more humane, reasonable solutions. I think the biggest thing is it goes deeper than that though. It's
Hmm.
working with individuals on, entitlement and pride. Like this is all the stuff that we already work on with the group members we work with, and there's a lot of greed in the system, and we would have to fix that
Yes.
before anything else. And that's, in my opinion, not impossible, but pretty dang close.
Well, and it's interesting that you say entitlement because I wrote that in
Mm,
highlighter and I was thinking about the people who come into our group, okay?
hmm
This is an extreme example. I'm not saying that this is anyone specific. But
hmm
let's say somebody punched his wife right in the face. He just walked up to her and punched her in the face.
hmm
Or a woman, she walked right up to her husband, just punched him in the face. Doesn't matter, it's situation, whatever.
Right.
One thing Natalie and I hear a lot is this should be free.
Mm,
Why do I have to pay for this?
hmm
And I proceed to tell them, sir, my tax dollars
hmm
help pay the judge and
hmm
pay for the building that your happy ass sat in after
hmm
you were charged with domestic violence.
hmm
We make nothing compared to what we put into this field, and we can never find enough therapists in this field.
Nope.
Especially this week, man. Do you feel like you've worked harder than you've been paid this week? Because I do.
Yes.
And the notion that this should be free because I say so
Mhm.
is also not an attitude that works,
No. No.
right? So
Hmm
even if we have health care for all have to do something to support health care for all.
Nothing's free.
Nothing's free.
Nothing is ever free. So when people are like, we need free healthcare, I'm like, but it's not free.
Let me tell you about Polis, and I don't care where everybody stands on Polis, that's fine. Polis has some good ideas though. So
Sure.
we have the Family Leave Act. I hope it's sustainable. We'll see if it's sustainable. But the
hmm
thing that's really cool about it, it benefited me already. Look
hmm
it up online. If you don't live in Colorado, look this up because it's just cool. The employee pays in a percentage of their income, and it's not a massive percentage. It's like 2%, 1 to 2%, something like that. The company pays in 2%. So the employer does, and the state pays in 2%. They pay up to 80% of your salary. It caps out at a certain amount
hmm
for very specific things, serious medical conditions, for you caring for someone
hmm
with a serious medical condition. Okay. This allowed me for the first time in my career to take 2 weeks off work to
Yeah.
handle something and be paid. I
Yeah.
took 4.5 weeks when I had my son, and I was paid really for none of it. My company tried to help me out a little bit, but I
hmm
didn't have paid maternity leave and there was no state benefit. So I was hosed. You are going to have a baby and you're going to have this benefit that's going to allow you
Yeah.
to have more time than you would have otherwise. And I'm so
Yeah.
happy about that.
Yeah.
So to end in a more hopeful place, the heart of it is, I think there are some creative solutions out there.
Mhm.
I think it just takes creative thinking, and I do think we have to look at cognitive distortions, greed, and the divisions
Yeah.
to make that better.
Yep.
So I hope that you guys have done some thinking with us on this one today because I know I've been doing some thinking.
Hmm.
And take care of yourself because it's stressful when this kind of crap happens anyway. So, you know, it makes us think about workplace violence and all kinds of things, which none of
Yeah.
that's fun and Christmassy to think about.
I'd say my biggest encouragement is if you are on the side of, you know, seeing this man's death as a victory, it's not.
It's not a victory.
And my encouragement is to think about this on a human level, right? I understand people are mad. I understand the
Oh,
alleged criminal is big, obviously big mad. You don't do something like this if you're not. And at the same time, this is a human being who has a family.
hmm.
And so, getting mad and polarizing it the way that our society
Exactly.
polarizes things isn't going to be helpful, right? Let's just,
No.
if we can lean into what Janine and I are talking about when it comes to this entitled thinking and all of that, then that's going to make more movement than us just being pissed off and saying shit on social media.
Let's bring some ideas instead of just reactions. And
Yes.
I also want to say there are thousands, tens of thousands of people who work at these health insurance companies who are kind when they pick up the phone and do try to help. It is the people at the top making the policies that they are trying to
Hmm.
handle. So when you're on the phone with people, I want to be clear about one thing. I am not mean on the phone when I talk to somebody because I don't want you to hear my
Hmm.
story and think I was mean for 48 hours and then my mom got what she wanted. That
Hmm.
is not true. The people on the other end were trying to solve things for me. They really
Yep.
were.
Yep.
I just didn't stop.
Right.
I just did not stop. And so my encouragement to you is do not stop. Appeal. Nat and I actually are going to post the appeal information for United Healthcare.
There we
So, hey,
go.
y'all, all of our listeners, all of our tens of millions of listeners, whatever, y'all are the best, though. I don't care how many we have, y'all are the best. We're going to
Yes.
put the appeal information on social media, and you appeal every freaking one. Do
Yes.
not stop.
Love that.
Do not stop. But also, yes.
Advocating for yourself doesn't have to look like this.
Yeah, it doesn't. I agree with you. It's not effective. You know
No.
what it is? It's like in DBT, effective communication. It's not about positive communication. It's not about even assertive communication. Like there's an element of just effective communication. This is
Yeah.
not effective communication.
No. Well, and what sucks is that kid, he's 26, so kid in my eyes is going to spend the rest of his life in jail.
Yeah, I mean, he's done.
Like
He's
what's he going to do there? What's he going to solve from
mm-mm,
prison? Nothing.
no,
So, it's
no.
smart freaking kid too. So, that's a
Mm-mm.
bummer. It's a big bummer.
He's not a hero, but he does have a message that I think is important.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Thank y'all for joining us. We'll give you updates. We will post information about appealing to United Healthcare. And let us know if you guys know things that we don't know, or if you have anything to add, hit us up on Instagram.
Sounds great.
We'll see you next week. And as always,
Bye, forensic friends.
I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening and join us next week for more crime, psychology, and heart.